Good morning, it's Christy, and today we're going to continue on in Matthew chapter 5. This is Jesus talking. We're going to start in verse 21, and this is what he says. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. All right, so what is Jesus saying there? Well, first of all, what is murder? We know that if you know the 10 Commandments, maybe you were taught those as a child, maybe you haven't even heard of the 10 Commandments, but there are 10 Commandments or laws that God gave the Old Testament, the Israelites in the Old Testament to follow, to kind of help them stay on course, on the path of righteousness. And one of them was, thou shalt not murder. All right, well, it was talking about physically killing somebody, right? If we physically kill somebody, that is murder. We know that today in our society, murder is not accepted yet. It shouldn't be because it is wrong. It is taking another life that we have no right to take. But what does that consist of? You know, murder also could incorporate abortion, because we are murdering a child in the womb. We are taking that child's life, that child's livelihood, that child's opportunity to come outside into this world and live a life as another human being. We have taken that, we've snuffed that out. And so that is considered murder as well. Now, the courts in our country don't always recognize that, but in God's law, that would be considered murder because life begins at conception. But here he goes on, and Jesus talks a little bit further about this. And he says, if you even become angry with somebody and you harbor that in your heart against somebody, that is just as wrong as murder. You're guilty of basically of murder when you hate somebody so much in your heart that you harbor that in your heart, because it's the heart. That's where these actions begin. It's the heart. It's the emotions and it's sin, but the emotions and the things that happen within our heart, we dwell on those things, we regurgitate those things over and over and over again, and oftentimes, whatever they may be, we act them out because we have thought about them so much. So Jesus is saying, if you've just hated somebody, you are guilty of this. So that gives us reason to reflect on several different things. First of all, have we ever committed murder? Hopefully none of us have, but there are people out there who have committed murder. They've served their time and now they're out. So I don't know who's watching this. But then there are people who have committed murder in the fact that they have had an abortion. All right. And then there are people, I am guilty as anybody else of hating somebody in my heart, not being forgiving towards that person, not being loving towards that person. That in God's eyes is just the same sin as murder. All right. But here's the deal. This is the good news. The good news is that Christ does and can forgive. If we go to him, if we have those things in our hearts, if we have murdered somebody, if we have hated somebody, if we have been a part of taking somebody's life or causing them to be in pain because of our unforgiveness, God, if we go to God with that and we lay that down at his feet, he is very willing to forgive that and to release that. And so my challenge to you today is, if you've ever experienced any one of these things, first of all, just know that we all sin. The Bible tells us that we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. There is no one perfect. No Bible teacher, no pastor, no evangelist. Nobody is perfect. We all sin. All right. But God also tells us that he is just, but he's also willing to forgive us of our sins. If we take those sins to him, he is willing to forgive us and give us a clean slate. And that is the best news of all. All right. Have a great day.